Hello and welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where we're winding down Traditions Week. We're going to summarize it here today.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where we're just going to summarize the entire week of traditions and what it means. So, traditions, what are they? They tend to be something that we think of on a yearly or a bi-yearly or a anniversary or, traditionally, what do we do in this scenario? But as I discussed this week, traditions can be as simple as daily routines. Traditions could be something that happens once a week. They could be something that happens once a month, or they could be something that happens once a year. But at the end of the day, when you bring them all together, especially those daily ones over time, what it builds is a bond of trust, love, and a sense of security for your children because they know what's coming up and they always have something to look forward to, whether it's at the end of the week with movie night in our case, whether it's the end of the night with daddy talk time, whether it's, hey, we're going to go and serve our community, whether or not we're going to go and do a presentation up on stage with dad and have to prepare for that, or if we're going to Uncle Louie's, or if it doesn't matter what the tradition is, the idea is for our kids to have a sense of routine, consistency, so that they feel loved and they feel safe. It's really a simple concept that isn't always easy to execute on, right? We have busy lives. Moms, dads, as you listen to my podcast, and I thank you for listening to the podcast. I absolutely don't know jack about parenting. I do the best I can. Some days I wonder where I get the energy. I'm sure you guys wonder where you get the energy. Today, every moment of my day is planned out so that I can, go to baseball practice tonight. Like every minute of today, including these podcasts, upload time, how I am, it's because there's only so many hours in a day. And personally, and I would ask you to think about this. Personally, I don't want all of my daily life and chores to be poured into work, paying bills, watching, and I'm going to say it, mindless television, when I could be spending that time with my boys. And I know in a day like today, if I don't schedule out every minute that they're not here, some of those things are going to trickle over into the evening. And I'm not going to get to do my evening routine. And I'm not going to get to do some of the things that I want to do with my boys and my wife. So as a parent, how are you managing your time? Because I know the biggest objection right now as I'm saying this, and someone's going, man, I don't have time for all that. If you don't make time for your kids now, they will do things outside of your power that will force you to make time for them. Let's get real here. I'm going to tell you the kids, most of the kids, not all, because some kids just veer no matter how much time you pour into them. But the kids who veer and have a lot of time on their hands because their parents are too busy for them, they find things to get in trouble with. They find things to do wrong so that they could get the attention. I shared a few weeks ago about the child who threw his shoes out the window on the bus. And I'll just recap that for you. Like a child who's not getting his traditions met or his daily dose of his parents or his weekly dose, he doesn't know where that's coming from. Well, we create a scenario that he gets attention from his parents or her parents. And when they're teenagers, it's going to be even worse because they haven't had the reins pulled and they don't have that sense of connection and stability because no traditions have been created. So if you have little ones right now, damn it, create traditions so that you don't have so that you're not trying to create them later. Because I tell you, if you don't have traditions built in your house, By the time your kids are hitting preteen and teenagers years, it's going to be real hard to reel them in. And teenagers know how to get in trouble, and they really know how to piss off their parents. Why? Because they're dying for their attention. And then when you give it to them in a negative way because of a negative response, they sit there and say to you, well, you've never been around anyway. How do I know that? Because I was that teenager. My mom was super busy. I grew up in a single family household. But there are times when I was super young that I remember my mom pouring into me. And it may not have been the ideal time, but it was enough for me to feel loved, feel safe, and feel confident enough to make a lot more good decisions than bad. And it was our version, or what I call daddy talk time now, is my mom did that with me at a young age. We had real life conversations and connection, and she built me up and told me I could do anything I put my mind to, and she told me she believed in me. And parents, these are things that I've talked about on podcasts in the past. Your kids should hear, I'm proud of you every day. They should hear, I love you every day. And they should hear, I believe in you every single day of their life. Those words should come out of your mouth to your kids, in my humble opinion. And if you say those things and you create traditions, whether they're daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, I guarantee you will have a way better connection to your children than 95% of the population, because you took a little bit of time. And I believe it only takes 15 minutes a day. So if you're just now listening to this, and you're like, where is this guy coming from with all these? Go back and listen to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday's episodes of Traditions Week. It brings it all together today. But at the end of the day, what you are trying to build, I know what I'm trying to build, are healthy, confident, happy, well-rounded, stable emotionally children that will go out and be productive adults in this society. And lastly, the thing that brings me the most joy and is my driver and really should be my mantra somewhere, but I know it in my head and I say it pretty often, and it's written in my book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, that you could go get at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com/free book. 40 powerful lessons becoming a powerful dad, but it's not just dads, it's all parents. Oh, my mantra. My goal, my ultimate goal, is to have the respect of my adult children. I want my kids when they're 23, 24, 25 to come back and say, man, I loved my dad and he set a good example. And what I also say in the book is no thing, right? A job, a car, a bigger house, an addiction, no thing or no fling, and we all know what a fling is going to come in the way of that. I will make good conscious decisions, even though I am a flawed human being, for the ultimate goal to be reached. My ultimate goals, and I hope your goals are similar to this, are to have the respect of my adult children, and no thing or no fling is ever going to get in the way of that. And when I'm thinking stupid thoughts, or I'm about to make a dumb decision, and I have those stupid thoughts too, just like everybody else, I say, how will this affect my relationship with my children when they are adults? Will they look back and say, Dad made a good decision there or a bad decision? And ultimately, I will make a few bad decisions, but I will make hundreds, if not thousands, of good decisions, more than the bad decisions. And here's the deal. I may have shared this in a podcast. I may not have. I shared it with someone recently. My son asked me, I said, he made a mistake one day, and I said, this is just a lesson aside from the traditions thing. I said, hey, it's okay to make mistakes as long as we learn from them, which is probably a podcast episode at this point. And he says, I said, Daddy's made a lot of mistakes in his life. And he got all perked up. It's like, how many mistakes have you made? I said, Christian, I've probably made tens of thousands of mistakes. He's like, tens of thousands of mistakes? I said, yeah, but here's the deal. We make a lot of choices on a daily basis. Probably make hundreds of choices every single day. I said, I may have made tens of thousands of mistakes, but I've made millions of good decisions. I said, so it's okay for you to make mistakes. just as long as you're making a lot more good choices. You could see his wheels turning. And I'll tell you that this came in the daily tradition conversation of Daddy Talk Time. And he was like, okay, Dad. And you could just see his wheels turn. And I said, you will make a lot more good decisions than bad, just because I trust you. I trust you'll do that. And you know right from wrong, because we've talked about that. And you'll always make way more good choices than bad choices, won't you? He's like, yeah, I will, Dad. Thank you. I don't know jack about parenting. I know that tradition serves me. I know the weekly tradition served me. I know the monthly tradition served me. And I know the yearly tradition served me, my wife, my family, my kids, and you as a whole, because I could sit here and talk about it. And my life, and hopefully your life, will be better off for implementing these things. I don't know jack about parenting, but I know traditions are important. We'll see you next week.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.